All right, I'm going to go over the Cetis programming on the phones. First thing the phones do when they boot is a TFTP configuration file. The Sphere server, actually all Sphere servers, or all 3C UCM servers have a folder. I made a shortcut here that goes here to programming x86 Sphere images. There is a process that runs on the machine called Sphere-Call TFTP, and you can find that under Services. And it runs primarily, the reason it was there in the first place was to serve up images for phone hubs and co-hubs, and it's still running. So there it is, and that's the service is already running for that. So in addition to that, we've added all these files into this folder. So this is what gets served up by the Sphere-Call folder. In here, these are were mass produced by myself, and you can make them by hand simply by copying any one of these files. So in the name, if you look at the name, you'll see this .3300 IP. That is the model number, and they all look like that. But 1209 is the extension. So if you open up this one, let's say as an example, you'll see basically most of this is boilerplate. This 1209 is the extension. The IPs these are static. This is like a clone thing, and it's not really needed. The phones all do DHCP. But you'll see going through here that they're really just very simple references to the number on the configuration. So what this tells you here is that this phone, when it grabs 1209, it will register as 1209 at this. When you boot the phone and you put in the extension number, what happens is it will TFTP 1209. If you say you put in 1209 into a phone, it will come here and grab this file and copy it to its memory. That's how it programs it. So all these files here, back here, they're all the TFTP files, and they're just cloned over and over and over again for all the extensions. So that gets the phone to check in. Okay, so I want to go over our working model that we have. It's room 1207, and if you look at 1207 as a room number and open him up, you'll see that he's connected to Cetis phone, and you can tell that by opening up. It says 1207 at that. That's the kind of registration. That's what those look like. If you go to properties, you'll see that it's a user-centric user, and these are also created en masse. You go to addresses, you can see that the two phones for the room are indeed selected. Now, I noticed that the offering is not correct here, so let's go out of here. Let's go over to a user. We should have a user called 1207. There he is. And you'll see that it needs, that should have been on like that licensed user, use AD name, and user-centric. And addresses, we need to basically make sure that they're both being offered and we're doing a preferred device. This will send out 1207 as the caller ID when a phone call is made outbound. But that's it. So under addresses, you see the two phones as set up here in the system, and they both will offer on the inbound side, and then on the outbound side, 1207 will be shown out to the users, to the people receiving the phone calls. The stations basically are two separate stations with two separate registrations. So there's that one, and then of course 512071 is the second phone, and they just look like normal phones otherwise. These endpoints, these device addresses, were created en masse as well. I took care of that, and I can show that in a separate video how to mass produce devices. But these are devices that were created. So all you need to do here under user plan is under 1207 is make sure that you have this offering and this preferred, and then under the actually AD name, Um, that was what was created, although that doesn't exist. It was actually deleted out of Active Directory. It had to be created at one point, and so that this object in the database exists, and just for a user-centric programming, and that's it. So basically, to recap, I mean, under here, the TFTP files here, all the extension number .3300 IP is what we have for each individual extension. It gives it the programming of what to display on the phone. And then there's also these other ones here, which are the original ones. So each phone has got a unique configuration file on the system. And then all you have to do is create a user object here under 1207 in this particular example, and then marry the two addresses to it. There's one more for forwarding. So under forwarding, you need to create voicemail under these. And this voicemail one will go to 5100 after 3 rings, which is the do voice voicemail. So that's set up for this object. So it doesn't matter which of these extensions get called, this forwarding will be kicking in. And pretty much that's it. Other than that, it's pretty normal, pretty straightforward.